So what if the universe isn't a place you live in, but a song being played right this exact second?
Hmm.
And what if the moment the musician stops playing, you, me, and literally everything around us just instantly vanishes?
It's a wild thought.
It really is. Welcome to your custom deep dive. Today we are opening up an incredible stack of material that you sent our way. These are the reflective notes compiled by a seeker named Mir Ali Shah.
Right.
And he originally shared these insights through the Inner Horizon Deep Dive, which is a great source.
Yeah, it's a phenomenal collection.
It is. And we are going on a journey today to the borderlands where modern theoretical physics meets Sufi metaphysics, which sounds heavy, but it is fascinating.
It is. I mean, for the last 4 centuries, we've essentially been told by society that we have to live with this fracture in how we understand reality.
Yeah, like a totally split brain.
Exactly. We put the measurable in one box, laboratories, differential equations, particle colliders, and then we put the meaningful in a totally different box. So prayers, poetry, philosophy, our quiet thoughts at night.
The stuff that makes us human, basically.
Yeah. And we've been told these two worlds don't speak the same language at all. But Mir Ali Shah's compilation, it's an invitation to heal that fracture. It's an attempt to show that the outer mechanics of the universe and its inner spiritual meaning, they're actually pointing to the exact same reality.
So let's start with that song analogy I mentioned at the top, because this totally upended how I picture reality.
Oh, yeah.
The traditional modern way most of us think about the universe is, well, it's what the philosopher Richard Howell calls a made thing.
Right, a made thing.
Yeah, so we picture the universe like a glass ball manufactured in a factory. Like once that glass ball pops off the assembly line, it just sits there on the shelves.
Yep.
You could, I don't know, fire the factory workers, you could burn the entire factory to the ground, but that glass ball is going to remain perfectly intact.
Yeah, that is the ultimate post-industrial intuition. It's a purely mechanical view of existence.
Right. And honestly, isn't that kind of how we tend to view the Big Bang?
Oh, absolutely.
We imagine God or, some initial cosmic force winding up the clock 13.8 billion years ago, setting the gears in motion, and then just walking away to let the machine run on its own.
Which makes total sense if you view the universe as a machine.
Right.
But classical contemplative traditions, specifically the Sufi tradition and medieval philosophers like Thomas Aquinas, they looked at reality and said, no, the universe is not a glass ball. It's music.
Music.
Yeah. Think about how music actually functions in a room. A song only exists as long as the musician is actively playing the instrument.
Okay, I'm tracking.
If the piano player lifts their hands off the keys, the music doesn't go hide in some warehouse of played songs.
Yeah, it doesn't get stored on a shelf.
No, it vanishes. It ceases to be entirely.
So if the cosmic musician decides to take a coffee break, the universe doesn't just pause, it's gone.
Gone instantly. And in the Sufi tradition, this is known as continuous creation. It fundamentally changes our relationship with time and origins. Like, the Big Bang wasn't a departure gate where existence just scrolled into the void and locked the door behind it.
Okay.
The Big Bang is just one measure, like one early note, in a continuous, ongoing act of playing.
Wait, so if I'm understanding the mechanics of this right,
Yeah.
you're saying everything around me right now isn't just coasting on momentum from billions of years ago.
Right.
It's fundamentally dependent on something right now.
Every single atom in the chair you were sitting on, the air you're breathing, the neurons firing in your brain, they are being actively sustained in this present millisecond.
Oh, wow.
You are a sustained thing, not just a made thing. A made thing only needs a maker in the past,
Yeah.
but a sustained thing requires a sustainer in the present tense.
Okay, that is a massive shift in perspective.
Yeah.
But it immediately makes me think of modern science. If the universe is this continuous, fragile song being played right now, how do we account for the cold, hard scientific laws that seem to govern it?
Yeah, the physics.
Right, because right now, theoretical physicists are on a massive hunt for what they sometimes call the God equation.
Yes.
They're looking for one elegant, unified mathematical formula that ties together gravity with quantum mechanics. They want the ultimate rule book.
The grand unified theory.
Exactly.
The idea that all fundamental forces are just different manifestations of one single mathematical framework.
Yeah. But Mir Ali Shah points out a massive category error in how we talk about this.
He really does.
Calling a physics formula the God equation is like calling a dictionary the English language.
Yes, that's such a good analogy.
Like, let's say you have the perfect dictionary. It flawlessly catalogs every spelling, every rule of grammar, every definition. That dictionary is incredible.
Right.
But the dictionary isn't the living, breathing act of two people having a conversation.
Yeah.
You can't write a poem.
That's a brilliant way to frame it. Because if physicists do eventually find this unified equation, and, let's hope they do,
Oh, yeah, that would be amazing.
what they will have found is the perfect grammar of the physical universe. It will describe the mathematical consistency of how physical events unfold with absolute elegance.
Right.
But the equation is just the shape of reality. It is the grammar, not the speaker.
So they aren't competing with each other. Science and mysticism.
Not at all. There is a famous quote from the 12th century philosopher Averroes. He said, "Truth does not contradict truth."
I love that.
Physics is the grammar of the universe. Sufism, or really any deep contemplative path, is the encounter with the author of that grammar.
Yeah.
You need grammar to speak, but the grammar doesn't speak itself.
I want to dig into that. How the author actually speaks reality into existence.
Okay.
Because to understand that, we have to look at the nature of existence itself. And there is a concept here from another classical philosopher, Avicenna, that honestly kind of broke my brain a little bit.
He has a habit of doing that.
He really does. He makes this razor-sharp distinction between essence, which is the whatness of a thing, and existence, which is the isness of a thing.
It sounds like purely abstract philosophy when you first hear it.
Oh, totally.
But it quietly rearranges how you view your own life.
It really does. Let me use the unicorn example from the notes, because that's the only way I could wrap my head around it.
It's the best way to explain it.
Yeah. So you can perfectly describe the essence, the whatness of a unicorn.
Right.
We all know what it is. It's a horse with a horn on its head. I can draw it. I can define it. I can tell you what it eats in fantasy novels.
Exactly.
But knowing exactly what it is doesn't magically give it isness.
No.
My understanding of its essence doesn't force a unicorn to actually exist in my backyard.
Right. The whatness and the isness are totally separate things.
Yes.
Which means that for every single created thing, every galaxy, every quark, every human being, our essence and our existence are separable.
Okay.
Think about yourself. Knowing what a human is doesn't guarantee that you specifically had to exist.
Right. I wasn't guaranteed.
Exactly. Your existence is entirely borrowed. It is contingent. You did not have to be here.
So where does the isness come from if we don't generate it ourselves?
This is the core spiritual insight. If our existence is borrowed, we must be borrowing it from somewhere.
Right.
Classical philosophy posits that there is one reality and only one where essence and existence are the exact same thing.
Oh, okay.
Substantial existence itself. It is a being that requires absolutely nothing else to make it be. Its very nature is simply to exist.
And this flows right into a concept from the Sufi tradition called the unity of being.
Yes.
But I want to be really careful here, because when people hear unity of being, they immediately jump to pantheism.
All the time.
They think, oh, so the coffee cup is God, the tree is God, my dog is God.
Right. Pantheism is the idea that the universe is just an accumulation of independent divine objects.
Yeah, like pieces of God scattered everywhere.
Exactly. But the unity of being is much subtler than that. It argues that there is only one true act of being. The universe isn't a collection of separate independent items. It is a mirror.
A mirror.
Yes. It is a manifestation or a self-disclosure of that single act.
So when I look at a tree, I shouldn't think that tree is God.
No.
But I also should look at it and think that tree is just a random, meaningless collection of carbon that accidentally sprouted out of the dirt.
Right. The tree is a specific site where the one reality has chosen to appear at this exact moment.
Wow.
In the Sufi vocabulary, it might be manifesting a particular divine name, like the giver of life or the sustainer.
Oh, I see.
It borrows its isness for a specific span of time and then is replaced by the next manifestation in the next moment.
Okay, that makes so much sense.
So when mystics say they see the face of the divine everywhere, they aren't saying a rock is literally a deity. They are saying the rock is a focal point where the author is currently writing a word.
Okay, this brings us to a fascinating crossroads. If everything physical is just a manifestation of this single continuous act of being, does our physical map, meaning modern science, ever actually hit a wall?
What do you mean?
Like, do our instruments ever reach a point where they just can't measure the music anymore and they just bump straight into the musician?
They absolutely do.
Really?
Yes, modern physics has two very specific edges where the physical map quietly runs out and just runs headfirst into metaphysics.
Okay, let's hear.
Let's look at the first one, the Planck scale.
Which is incredibly small.
unfathomably small. We are talking about 10 to the power of negative 35 meters.
I can't even picture that.
No one can. That is the absolute smallest length at which our current physical language can describe anything.
Okay.
When physicists try to look at reality below that length, the math goes crazy.
Like it just stops working.
It produces infinities.
Yep.
The smooth geometry of space-time, which Einstein described in general relativity, it completely breaks down and clashes with the jittery chaos of quantum mechanics. They just refuse to talk to each other.
And a similar thing happens at the Big Bang singularity, right?
Yes, exactly the same issue.
Like you rewind the clock 13.8 billion years, all the matter in the universe is crushed into a point of infinite density, and once again, the equations just fall apart.
Yeah.
Science has to throw its hands up and say, we don't know what happens here.
Because the physical language runs out.
Yeah.
And from the perspective of the classical traditions, this breakdown isn't a failure of science. It is exactly what you would expect.
Oh, right. Because you hit the edge.
Exactly. If the physical world is being actively sustained by a reality that is not itself physical, then your physical measuring tape has to eventually hit a border.
It goes right back to the sheet music.
Yep.
Trying to describe the sustainer using only physical equations is like trying to describe the actual living composer using only the ink on the page.
Exactly.
You can analyze the sheet music all day. You can measure the distance between the notes. You can calculate the tempo.
Yeah.
But the composer is never going to physically appear in the transcription.
The map is not the territory. But there is a second edge where physics hits a wall, and this one might be even more mind-bending.
Okay, hit me.
It's the observer.
Oh, quantum mechanics. Let's get into this, because this stuff sounds like actual magic sometimes.
It really does sound like magic. In quantum mechanics, there is a core principle involving the wave function.
Okay.
Before a quantum system, like an electron, is observed, it doesn't have a definitive fixed position. It exists as a wave of probabilities.
Right.
Think of a coin spinning on a table. While it's spinning, it isn't heads or tails. It's a blur of both possibilities.
Yeah, it's just potential.
Exactly. But the moment you slam your hand down and look at it, the moment it is observed, that wave function collapses and it becomes a definitive reality. It becomes heads or tails.
So the observer isn't just standing outside a glass tank watching the universe happen.
No.
The very act of looking forces the universe to make a choice.
The observer is a participant in what becomes real. It shatters the old 19th century materialist view that the universe is just a clockwork machine that would tick along exactly the same way whether we were looking at it or not.
And what blew my mind in these notes is that Avicenna, the same philosopher who gave us the unicorn analogy, he was writing about this dynamic 900 years before quantum physicists like Bohr and Heisenberg were even born.
Isn't that incredible? He described a concept called the agent intellect.
Right.
Avicenna argued that the human observer was never a passive camera. The observer was a participatory consciousness that actually helped actualize the potentiality of the world into known being.
So the human mind interacting with reality is what brings it into sharp focus.
Yes. So quantum physics and 12th century metaphysics are basically arriving at the exact same conclusion from opposite ends of a very long tunnel.
That the observer is woven deeply into the fabric of reality.
Yes. But, and this is a crucial but, that Mir Ali Shah emphasizes in his compilation, we have to navigate this overlap with extreme care.
Because it is incredibly tempting to just mash them all together, right?
Oh, absolutely.
To look at this and say, boom. Science and mysticism are saying the exact same thing everywhere. Quantum physics proves spirituality.
That is the trap a lot of people fall into. If we aren't careful, sloppy analogies lead to bad physics and bad mysticism.
Right.
The text insists that rigor is a form of reverence. We have to be able to separate a genuine correspondence from a complete category error.
Let's unpack that. Show me what a genuine correspondence looks like versus a sloppy one.
Okay. A genuine correspondence is relational existence.
Relational existence. Okay.
Quantum field theory tells us that particles are not tiny, independent billiard balls bouncing around in empty space.
Right.
Instead, the universe is made of underlying invisible fields. An electron is just a ripple, an excitation in the electron field.
Like a wave on the surface of an ocean.
Yes.
The wave isn't a separate object from the ocean. It's just the ocean behaving a certain way for a moment.
Exactly. The particles are relationships, not isolated things.
Wow.
Quantum entanglement takes this even further, showing that two particles can become a single system, instantly reacting to one another across vast distances with no independent existence from each other.
It's spooky.
Einstein called it spooky action at a distance. But now look at Sufi metaphysics. It argues that no created being has independent substance. Everything is a knot in a larger web, sustained by a single active being.
Oh, wow.
On that specific conceptual point, that reality is fundamentally relational and interconnected. Physics and mysticism are saying the same thing in different alphabets.
Okay, that makes sense. That's good overlap. So what is the category error? Where do people take this too far?
A classic category error happens constantly with string theory.
Oh, I've seen this.
String theory proposes that the universe might have extra spatial dimensions, maybe 10 or 11 dimensions.
Right.
But they are folded up so microscopically small we can't see them. People will take that and say, aha, the extra dimensions in string theory are the exact same thing as the spiritual realms described in Sufi cosmology.
I have absolutely heard people say this.
Oh, it's everywhere online.
They claim the angels or the spiritual world are just hiding in the 11th dimension.
And it is fundamentally flawed. Let's break down why. The extra dimensions in string theory are physical, spatial dimensions.
They're just space.
They're literally just space folded up. But spiritual realms in Sufism are degrees of being.
Oh, I see.
They are levels of reality closer to the original author. They aren't physical spaces you could travel to if you just had a tiny enough spaceship.
Great. It's not a place you can just drive to.
Conflating a folded-up spatial dimension with a degree of divine proximity is, as the text brilliantly puts it, like calling a symphony a spreadsheet.
Ah, that's perfect.
It's a total misunderstanding of what both things actually are.
You can't measure the weight of a poem with a ruler.
Exactly.
But even with those strict boundaries in place, there's one massive, undeniable connection that proves this whole conversation isn't just speculative philosophy.
Yes, there is.
And that is the simple fact that the universe makes sense to us at all.
Yes. The Nobel laureate physicist Eugene Wigner famously called this the unreasonable effectiveness of mathematics.
Right. Because think about it. Why should a universe that could just be total chaotic nonsense actually be readable by elegant, compressible equations that a human brain can understand?
It's a profound mystery.
Why does the math work?
From within the strict boundaries of physics itself, there is no obvious reason why mathematics should work so perfectly.
Yeah.
But in the Sufi tradition, this cosmic intelligibility is the empirical signature of manifestation.
Okay, break that down.
The universe is mathematically readable because it is a manifestation of primordial wisdom. The reason the math works, the reason our minds can comprehend the equations of a dying star millions of light years away, is because the human intellect is made from the exact same source as the star.
That is beautiful.
The universe is quite literally a book, and it is readable because the same one who wrote the book also made the reader.
Okay, but this brings up what is undoubtedly the hardest question of all.
Yes, it does.
And I'm glad the compilation doesn't shy away from this. If the universe is a legible, beautiful book written by a divine author, and absolutely everything is a manifestation of that one act of being, how do we reconcile that with the tragic, brutal realities of our world?
Yeah.
How do you look at a child dying of hunger or the absolute horrors of war and say, yes, this too is a beautiful manifestation? It feels almost offensive to suggest that.
It is the sharpest challenge to this entire worldview. The problem of pain, the problem of evil.
Right.
And we should be clear, the classical traditions do not offer a neat, tidy resolution that just makes the pain go away.
Yeah, there's no magic Band-Aid.
Instead, they offer lenses to approach the mystery with immense spiritual humility. The first lens the text discusses comes from process theology, which introduces the idea of soft omnipotence.
Soft omnipotence. How does that work in the face of suffering?
It distinguishes between coercive power, the ability of a dictator to just force outcomes and puppet everyone's movements,
Right.
and soft omnipotence, which is infinite guidance, persuasion, and compassion working through the freedom of the world.
Okay.
In this view, the author acts by continuous invitation, allowing the universe and the beings within it to have real relational freedom.
So people have real choices.
Yes. Tragedy and evil occur when that invitation to harmony is refused by free agents, or in the natural clash of a truly free, unfolding universe. The author suffers with creation rather than just micromanaging it from afar.
So it's the risk of letting the music play itself, in a way.
That's a good way to put it.
And the text mentions a second lens from classical Sufism, which feels I don't know, a lot heavier to grapple with.
It is heavier. Classical Sufism argues that the physical universe is the arena where multiplicity exists so that all the divine names can be fully manifested.
What does that mean in practice, like on the ground?
It means that for a concept like the just to manifest in reality, injustice must be a possibility.
Oh, wow.
For the forgiver to manifest, wrongdoing must occur. For the healer to be known, there must be brokenness.
So contrast is required.
The universe requires contrast to be legible.
That is a staggering thought.
It is.
And frankly, a really difficult one to swallow when you're the one in the middle of the brokenness.
The tradition acknowledges that perfectly.
Yeah.
The classical language warns that demanding direct, unmediated intimacy with the ultimate why of tragedy would be spiritually devastating to a normal human mind.
We just couldn't handle it.
No. It remains a profound, aching mystery. But the text reminds us that science has its own profound blind spots that require deep humility, too.
That's true.
Science cannot solve the hard problem of consciousness. You know, how physical matter suddenly has a subjective inner experience.
Right, how a bunch of atoms suddenly can feel sad.
Exactly. It cannot account for dark matter and dark energy, which make up 95% of our universe.
Which is wild.
Neither the language of science nor the language of mysticism has all the answers neatly wrapped up with a bow.
Which brings us to the core takeaway of this entire deep dive. We need both languages.
Yes, we do.
Science describes the how. It gives us the mechanics, the grammar, the equations.
Right.
Sufism and contemplative traditions describe the why. They give us the author, the meaning, the purpose.
And you can't really have one without the other.
No. Science without metaphysics is just mechanical power with no ultimate direction. Metaphysics without science is profound wisdom that has no traction in the actual physical world we have to wake up and live in every day.
We have to realize that existence is a gift. It is not a mechanical fact.
Yeah.
We are inside the sentence. We are participating in the universe becoming conscious of itself.
I want to read a general reflection inspired by the closing notes of Mir Ali Shah's compilation.
Please do.
He asks a beautifully simple question. What if the universe is music being played moment by moment, and we have simply forgotten how to listen?
That is a beautiful place to land.
It really is.
And to build on that, I'd leave you with this final thought to ponder today. If the universe is indeed a continuous piece of music, and you are not just a passive audience member sitting in the dark, but an active participant woven directly into the fabric of reality,
Wow.
how does your personal attention, your state of mind, your compassion today alter the way the symphony unfolds? If the book of the universe was written to be read, what happens when you finally realize you are holding the pen as you read it?